And what many of the right-wing extremists clearly want to do is shut down the government. They shut down the government under President Clinton. They shut down the government under President Obama. They even shut down the government under President Trump. As part of some effort to try to extort the American people for...
Yes. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives, who was raised by a radical anti-Semitic lunatic college professor, his mentor. But that's okay. He's a Democrat. And there's a right-wing extremists that are trying to destroy and defund. And what was the last one? Lots of incendiary language. I believe that the Republicans should return fire in kind with the incendiary language. If this is the discussion that the left wants to have in the United States, then let's beat the bloody hell out of them, verbally, of course, you know. But that's standard protocol, the extremist. And, you know, he's an actual radical, an actual left-wing extremist, and raised by a real radical, anti-Semitic, left-wing extremist, naturally college professor, his uncle. Leonard Jeffries, who everybody knows to be an anti-Semite, and he was his guiding light. Hakeem Jeffries' guiding light when he was growing up. But when you're a Democrat, that's okay. That's not a problem. We've got lots of because the Democrats are still crazy on this whole children and LGBTQ things. I think almost as a sarcastic move or as a symbolic move to draw attention to what the Democrat Party is doing today, that parents groups in America ought to claim that they want to introduce straight sex courses to the 11 and 12 and 13-year-old kids that the Democrats are introducing to LGBTQ courses, you know, sexualizing children at younger and younger ages. And it's all gay. None of it is straight. None of it is straight, you know, because that'd be illegal. That'd be frowned upon. That's not something that's acceptable in Western civilization, in modern societies. But the Democrats, when they do it under the flag, and they do have a flag of LGBTQ, then it's okay, and the children are fair game. They are prey for the Democrat Party. So I want to get into a couple of these stories, very, very twisted stories about, today, the Democrats. And they've got real problems. They've got real sexual issues. While I was talking about China and the Wuhan Red Death, by the way, a great story in the Washington Times today. Chinese may be inserting military operatives into the United States of America through the broken U.S. border. And that's not a problem with the Democrats. That's okay. Also, how many on the terrorism watch list? Well over 100. Just in the last, it's way over 100. Terrorism watch list. And how many are getting through? The Chinese inserting military operatives in the United States through our open borders because they see it as an opportunity, and so they take advantage of it. That's a fact check. All right, so many things to get to. Let's go to the telephones. Holy cannoli, are you kidding? Holy smoke. This is, I was concerned, but now my fears have been, this is great. Mike the Lib is on the line, calling from Gainesville, Virginia. Mike the Lib, where have you been?
Oh, I've been busy at early voting, Chris.
Busy early voting. How many times? How many different states?
No. I stay outside and I hand out cards, having people to join the Prince William County Democratic Committee.
How do you say it in Spanish?
I don't. I'm unfortunate. I don't speak Spanish. I had 2 years of high school Spanish, and I did terrible in it. So.
Mike the Lib. I gotta tell you, it's kind of funny because your name came up with my best girl the other day, and I hadn't heard from you in quite a while. And I said I was concerned. I'm serious. I said, I hope he's okay. Mm-hmm. I hope he's up and taking nourishment and stealing votes and, doing all the stuff that Democrats do, teaching LGBTQ classes to little children or whatever it is. Whatever it is you're doing.
Chris. Okay, let's get to the point. Trump's claim of declassification is totally bogus because if you declassify something, you certify that it can cause no damage and it can be released to the American public. None of these documents were released to the American public.
So, like the FBI document they have on Joe Biden taking $5 million from the owner of the Ukrainian gas company, Burisma, declassified. That is an unclassified document, so that should be released to the American people.
No, that is an ongoing investigation, Chris. These are intelligence reports. If Trump declassified them, it was only for his personal trophy and to be sold to the highest bidder of the information.
Sold to the highest bidder? Well, you just made a leap to sold to the highest bidder.
Didn't, because what else is going to use? Or his personal gratification to show to his friends like he did?
Well, is there now? You guys tried this Russian collusion thing for years and years.
There was.
He's still selling it.
There was. They attacked the Democratic server.
Yeah.
Russian intelligence was basically the plumbers for Trump.
No. Wait a minute. Now, Mike, I don't want to give away Hang on.
What they said was Trump's campaign did not actively participate in the crime. Only the Russians participated in the crime. That's why he got off.
Now, that's why he got off. Listen to this.
Yes.
I got to tell you. Now, you know that the Russians have been, since we've had computers and the internet, that the Russians have been, and the Soviets before the Russians, have been hacking into everything, and they send people here like the Chinese crossing our southern border. Now, you have a
why don't they come in as a tourist, Chris? That's an awful waste of time.
You have a background in this realm, don't you?
Absolutely.
And
I know all these facts.
Tell us what that is.
I was a senior intelligence analyst
for
DIA,
for the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is larger or smaller than the CIA?
We're about 1/3 to 1/4 the size of CIA.
Well, CIA has grown a lot since September 11th.
No, even before that, they were always bigger. They were always much bigger.
And
we only concentrated on military intelligence,
and on
military force structures, and they had to do everything else.
So you know that the Soviets and the Russians have been hacking into everything forever and tampering in our...
Yeah, but they never handed this stuff off to a political party. Or if they offered it to a political party, the Democrats always said no. They did. Of course, we wouldn't be tainted by that information, Chris.
That is hilarious. But you're saying, but you're only insinuating, you're implying that the Trump campaign.
Well, it could only be for a personal trophy.
You just shifted the subject.
Well, no. It was for if he didn't release it to the American public, as you're supposed to release declassified information. That's the only legitimate reason to declassify.
Well, again, you just shifted because we were talking about the Russians hacking the DNC and the Russian collusion, which you're still pretending
they did. They basically
actually took place.
Regulate.
Now, you know that Putin's Russia paid Bill Clinton $500,000 for a speech, and that they had this operative at the Brookings Institution. What was his name? Crazy Ivan, who was involved in the Steele dossier with the Clinton campaign, and that he had ties directly to the Kremlin, the Brookings guy, with one foot in the Clinton campaign, his other foot in the Kremlin, and his midsection at the Brookings Institution. You know all about that.
No, but they only went after Clinton. They didn't go after Trump at all, did they?
Right.
They did.
Yeah, I got to tell you. All right.
Okay. I'm going to switch things because when you were doing those questions, you basically got some things wrong. First of all,
which questions?
Al Gore moved DARPANet to the National Science Foundation. That was the foundations for the internet.
The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, and Al Gore. But you can't tell me I got anything wrong. I just played the audio of Al Gore saying
Al Gore, but that's why he considers he's one of the founding fathers of the internet, because once they moved it to the National Science Foundation, that's when was able to be expanded on the unclassified side,
Uh-huh.
not limited to
Uh-huh.
a few contractors.
Well, but that
At the
was
university.
that was happening and would have happened whether Al Gore had ever been born or not.
No, it might have been, but it might have been done a little quicker by Al Gore. So, we don't know.
Al Gore. Well, I just played the. So you said I was wrong about something, but I wasn't.
No, I'm saying you basically that's why he credited. He didn't go into that detail, but that's what the detail is.
You're the
Okay,
you're the
on the Electoral College.
on the Electoral College.
Okay, the states every 4 years, the state legislature has to pass a law assigning the winner of the plurality vote slate of electors to be the winner. It has to be separate law. Okay, it's the state plurality vote winner slate wins the Electoral College. So technically, they could assign it to something else.
No. The Constitution. No. The Constitution.
All it says is it's at the state legislature level. That's who makes the decision.
It's not at their. Hang on.
Each time.
Stay calm now. It's not at the discretion of each state legislature
Yes, it is.
to give the electoral votes to whoever they decide. It is they must be faithful to the voters of the state and
No.
represent the states.
Constitution has nothing about voters.
So-
Don't you understand that?
So
That's why they created the
so
Electoral College.
so you
The
believe
voters had nothing to do with it.
this is
It was
Mike.
the
This
state
is Mike the Lib.
legislature. They
So-
had to create that link with saying it. We give it to the voters. That
So-
was a link that was created. It was not in the Constitution.
So the Democrats will take it away.
No, it won't be.
And when you say no, you mean yes.
Well, our founding fathers didn't want voters to vote for president. The only thing good about the Electoral College was it created a separate election for president.
Well, it creates fairness. It creates fairness, as you know. It levels the playing field.
And the House was going to vote, so you wouldn't have had a separate election. For president.
It levels the playing field, as you know, for the small states to give them
it
power.
overcounts the small states.
Yeah. Oh, see,
That's the problem.
and they shouldn't. And
Overcounts
hang
that.
on. And Montana shouldn't have 2 senators, just like California, right?
Well, no. What you can do is you can increase the size of the House of Representatives, so then you can dilute the overemphasis of the Senate as a percentage.
Well, California, that's already been done.
What it was before.
That's already been done. That's built into the system. That's built into the system. Well, listen.
So 435, the size of the House of Representatives was totally decided in 1922. Before
Yes.
that, they had continuously increasing as population.
Yes.
They stopped increasing at that time.
That's
because
true.
They didn't have enough office space.
That's true. But
They certainly have enough office space.
But
than
California still has a great many more representatives in the House than
that.
Montana.
They have the vast
Yet
majority
that-
of the population.
Yet they have.
Divide the number
Listen,
of electoral college votes by the population.
you get the impression.
800,000
You get the impression.
Californians get one electoral vote. It takes Wyoming.
Do you get
200,000.
do you get the impression that that Mike the Lib is not learning anything from this point forward? Mike, you don't listen very well. I know that.
Well, Chris, I'm telling you what the facts are.
Yeah, I know, and I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Right? Yeah. But what we're talking about is, and now we're done.
Socialist in there for disinformation.
And now we're done. But Minnesota and the Democrats have a scheme to undo the Electoral College, and they say they'll throw the electoral votes of Minnesota, which is the story that I was talking about, to whoever wins the popular vote, which is a complete corruption of the Electoral College and of our system of selecting a president of the United States through our constitutional republic and through our system of voting across the country. And the geniuses that created this country, had it figured out. It is absolutely mind-boggling how brilliant they were, and I'm sure that you would agree with that. And Mike, one last thing. You were the guy that said that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, weren't you?
I know, Chris. I did ballistic missiles in Iraq. I did not do the WMD.
Scuds?
And the problem there was we had basically some bad sources of information, basically Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, well, all right, Mike the Lib, thank you very much. Good to hear your voice. I'm glad to hear that you're up and about. And, You keep doing what you're doing. I'd like to think you're going to come to your senses, but never mind that. Hey, listen, I've got breaking news for everybody out there. Biden's crazy and dangerous plan to switch America over to a digital dollar goes active in just a matter of weeks, no matter what they tell you. This is not something that's going to help you or your family or your financial future. It's time to take action before it's too late. The Federal Reserve is going to be deployed in phases, the initial launch taking place in just a couple of weeks on July 1st. And it's called Fed Now. A whole lot of us are going to be taken entirely by surprise. Everything that we've worked for is at stake. But there is a way for us to take legal action to opt out of the digital dollar before it's too late. Time to call my friends at American Alternative Assets to get your free wealth protection guide. Learn all about it. This guide will educate all of us on how we can protect ourselves from a failing dollar, volatile stock markets with gold and silver IRAs. Give them a call today at 888, the number 4, GOLD 20. Call them right now, 888-446-5360. Don't let Biden and the crazy people force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 888-4-GOLD-20. Learn. Learning is good. Call 888-446-5360. Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own tax, legal, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. Mike the Lib. I'm glad he's well. He listens and still doesn't learn anything. I think that he might be gratuitously disputatious. What about you?
I'm a Russian intelligence officer, and I want you to betray your country.
Hey, Chris here with some exciting news. Now you can listen to me live on the WMAL app. Doesn't matter if you're in your car, in the office, on the go. The WMAL app delivers crystal clear around-the-clock news coverage anywhere with cell service or Wi-Fi. So don't miss a second of your favorite shows. Download the WMAL app today on the Apple App Store or at Google Play Store. We still have all kinds of great stuff coming up. Thank you all for the mailbag questions. Great things. Now, I've got a Massachusetts middle school. It's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And the Democrats are having gay indoctrination. And a group of students rebelled. And they stood up. And they said, rather than rainbow flags, why don't we have American flags? And now they must be punished. The children, they might have to be spanked by the Democrats because they're very unwell, I've got that story coming up. And Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister has weighed in on this transgender thing. And you'll never believe what he had to say. Bum 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 ba dum ba dum bum bum. Let's take another phone call. Let's go to talk to the nice people. Let's go to Andy calling from Columbia, Maryland. Andy, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris, the other day you were talking about that liberal girl that can't find a liberal guy that's manly enough for her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. This, let me explain for people who weren't here. A left-wing woman who complained publicly on TikTok. She made a video saying that she's a liberal and she's looking for, a soulmate and a mate and a companion. And she wants a liberal, but she can't find any liberal men that are masculine. And she's terrified that she may end up with a conservative man because those are the only masculine men she can find.
And then you kind of look to your left and the guy that does his hair for 2 hours with a pink eye, and you said, what say you?
What
And there
say?
was kind of
Oh, you're talking about on Newsmax now.
I'm not going to name names, but that's correct. There's a big pause there.
Yeah, we talked about it on Newsmax as well. Yeah, yeah. And the the woman with the TikTok video. What say you? You think I put him on the spot? Do you?
He didn't quite know what to say right away.
Oh, that's very funny. I got to tell you, you pay attention. It's amazing how well people pay attention, how closely people pay attention. It looks like Michael's making a face at me. I think he has the audio of the woman. A single woman made waves lamenting on TikTok that all the chivalrous masculine men in her dating orbit are conservative.
Was that as a liberal woman, it is really hard to find a man who is willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship in today's day and age, who is not a conservative.
See, all the men that she meets that are masculine, she finds out are conservative, and so she's torn. And all the liberal men she meets are cross-dressers.
We know what's going on. Not a big.
What is it? What is it that's going on, Andy? Explain it to her.
Well, Democrat men are usually drinking a lot of soy. And they kind of look like and act like feminine.
You know, I look, it's Andy, and I think I said this the other night on Newsmax too. The Democrats have taken the word masculine, right, and masculinity, and they've added the word toxic to it. This started decades ago. I didn't get into this on Newsmax, but they started this decades ago when they decided that the word macho was a Latino term, negative term, because it referred to masculinity, right? And then they had that, the Village People, macho man, and they turned macho into something to be mocked. And now fast forward to today, all masculinity is defined as toxic by the left. So they are raising males to be anti-masculine, to be anti-male, right? And then you end up with soy boys all over the place. And now here we are, women saying, what am I going to do? I don't want to date a woman in men's clothing.
Well, now they stepped on the accelerator and they want them to be that in kindergarten. So it's a shame.
That's exactly right. Andy, thank you for teeing that up and reminding me, because it does tee up the next Democrat Party story, which is out of Burlington, Massachusetts. And yeah, they have a Burlington there also. Burlington community calls for action after middle school students disrupt Pride event. Now, again, the Democrats are having let's make no mistake about this, is gay pride, all right? It's not American pride or masculine pride or Western civilization pride or biblical pride. It's gay pride, all right? Proud to be gay. And they're inflicting this on younger and younger children. This is their program. And look, Target, the big box store, Target, they've had Gay Pride Month events and clothing and items for 20 years. Nobody said a word until they introduced the children gay transgender events and the baby. They had the things for like the little babies, 6 months old babies. And then people said, well, wait a minute, you're sexualizing children. What if you were doing this in the heterosexual realm instead of in the gay realm? And wouldn't we all object to the sexualization of children? Everybody except Roman Polanski and Harvey Weinstein and Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein and, well, okay, except for Democrats, I guess. So Burlington community calls for action after middle school students disrupt Pride event. That means they rebelled. Burlington Middle School, and it's a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school, right, Michael? So 6th grade, you can be, 11 years old. And so the boys and girls are being sexualized by the adults, the Democrats, but only into the LGBTQ lifestyle, not into the heterosexual lifestyle, because that would be illegal and inappropriate, right? But let's not be critical of someone just because they want to have sex with a 5-year-old. as a Democrat teacher in Texas famously said. So the Burlington Middle School students reportedly tore down pride banners, chanted, "USA are my pronouns." They chanted, "USA are my pronouns" in Burlington, Massachusetts. What is going on with that? This is the revolution. Now, you're going to be chanting Wolverines up in the mountains with their rifles. So they chanting "USA are my pronouns" and glared down students and teachers supporting pride. We're talking about 11, 12, and 13-year-olds, right? The Burlington community, a bunch of lefties, is calling on town leaders to take action in the wake of recent middle school incident during which students disrupted a pride event. They're children. Leave the children alone. So according to a letter to parents from the Marshall Simons Middle School principal, Carrie Purchase, there was an incident. It took place during school-approved Spirit Day, celebrating Pride Month on Friday, June 2nd. The Spirit Day for Pride Month, requested and sponsored by Spectrum Club, which is the, LGBTQ spectrum, the Students for LGBTQ plus Students and Allies. Again, we're talking 11, 12, and 13-year-old kids. As part of the event, the letter said, Spectrum Club decorated the school with handmade Happy Pride Month signs and educational posters. Do they have graphic depictions on how to do certain things with educational posters? With the messages such as, why it's not okay to say, "That's so gay." That's so gay. All right, so they had signs made up all over the schools and have these things. So they, the club members then put up rainbow streamers and pride flag banners, handed out rainbow stickers. Everybody's gay. But wait a minute, I'm 11 years old. Why don't you leave me alone for a minute? And invited students and faculty to wear rainbow clothing. Again, if you sexualized 11-year-olds as heterosexuals, that would not be allowed. Am I right? And why would that not be allowed? But throughout the day, some students showed their disdain for the event in a number of ways, the letter said. Students were seen being inappropriate with the stickers. Did they stick them on their butts or something? What do they do with that? And tearing down the banners and signs. Maybe they don't want to be indoctrinated to the LGBTQ way of life as 11 and 12-year-olds. Other students tried to intimidate faculty. Really? The little kids are intimidating faculty? And students showing support for pride through glares, chanting "USA are my pronouns" in the halls. And they wore red, white, and blue clothing with face paint, red, white, and blue face paint, in protest of the event. So then the school became very upset, you see, and now the students must be punished. And according to the school district put out a statement which goes on and on naturally, and they're very upset. And they say that the community is demanding that action must be taken against the kids who are chanting "USA are my pronouns," wearing red, white, and blue, and so on. As you may be aware, the school board put out, there were some incidents of intolerance and homophobia in the middle school last week. Well, you guys are spreading homosexuality then. Is that the correct? For 11, 12, and 13-year-old students. You can read more details in the article that they've attached here. The Burlington Equity Coalition, you can only imagine, is committed in building. It's committed to building an inclusive, equitable, and welcoming community, except for straight kids who just want to be left alone when they're 11 years old and trying to go to middle school, and they probably can't read or do math and don't know anything about history, but they're being indoctrinated. So they put out this lengthy, tedious statement. As an immediate call to action, we invite each one of you to attend the 3rd annual Burlington Pride celebration. So show support for our LGBTQ friends and neighbors in the wake of such events. Oh, it was horrifying. And now the kids, they're going to have to be punished. And the kids are going to have to be punished because they're not going along with the Democrat Party line, which is LGBTQ children and all the schools at all the events. Students at Massachusetts Pride event destroyed decorations, chanted USA are my pronouns, district said. And the students destroyed rainbow decorations. And, maybe you guys should cop a clue. Leave the kids alone. You are gay child sex predators. You should leave the kids alone. And also, we just into the Chris Plant Show, we have the children are being punished up at the school. It's a terrible thing.
We have but one punishment for setting alight the grail-shaped beacon. You must tie her down on a bed and spank her. You must spank her well, and after you have spanked her, you may deal with her as you like, and then spank me. And spank me? And me? And me? Yes, you must give us all a good spanking.
Once again, the Democrats have taken what was once the satire of Monty Python and brought it into the realm of the real world. Completely nuts. By the way, the Associated Press now, perhaps the biggest news agency in the world, and they have their style guide, which is not about fashion and what kind of hair you should have. It's about how to write. And journalists all over the world follow the Associated Press style guide. And they have an update now. They put out an update, yet another update. The AP Style Tip, June 2023, trans exclusionary radical feminists. They call them TERFs, you see. In our updated transgender topical guide, the entire Democrat Party has gone transgender. Trans exclusionary radical feminist. That goes by TERF. They turn it into an acronym, of course. We recommend avoiding the vague and politicized term to describe cisgender women or others who object to the inclusion of transgender women in women's spaces. This is the Associated Press. The entire world has lost its mind. All of journalism is just, they've choked to death in a closet as a result of autoerotic asphyxiation. And can you use autoerotic asphyxiation when you're describing the American news media? I think you can. So, updated transgender topical guide, trans exclusionary radical feminist. That's TERF. You should not use the vague and politicized term to describe cisgender women, that's women, normal women, or others who object to the inclusion of transgender women in women's spaces. This is Johns Hopkins University yesterday. I shared with you, right? They have their guide for the students there, and it includes, let's see, AMAB, assigned male at birth, and AFAB, ABAB and AFAB, assigned female at birth, and they don't use the word lesbian. They define the word lesbian as non-men attracted to non-men. You people are having a mental breakdown. You understand that, don't you? That is, you're not well. All right, let's go to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Phil calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Philip, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, I just wanted to say these young kids who said the USA is my pronoun, they made me so proud. Because when you take that phrase apart, United States of America are my pronouns. They're mine too.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, you kids are awesome. You're awesome.
That is great. Listen, and you're 100% right. And these are kids that are being let's call it what it is. This is sexual abuse. And we're seeing it all over the country. The left, the Democrat Party, has normalized the sexual abuse. This is political, first of all, and it's sexual. But if you engaged 11-year-old school children, 6th graders, in this kind of program that was heterosexual, you would be correctly labeled a child sex predator. But because it's LGBTQIAA+, you're not allowed to raise an eyebrow. Otherwise, you're labeled as a terrible person. You're suffering from a phobia of some kind. Yeah, and these kids, honestly, it reminds me of Red Dawn. Wolverines!
trans community got mad. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments.
All right, you know, communists are death in combat boots. Not in loafers, they're in combat boots. And now Vlad the Impaler Putin is sending nuclear weapons to one of his fellow traveling communist neighbors, the Belarusian president Alexander Lukashenko. And Lukashenko is going around bragging that he's taking delivery of Russian nuclear weapons, which he says are 3 times as powerful as the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. And those would be very significant nuclear bombs. You may have seen the mushroom clouds on film and so on. And he's already threatening the world because, you know, commies. He says, we have missiles and bombs that we have received from Russia, Lukashenko said in an interview with Russian TV. He said, the bombs are 3 times more powerful than those dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he says. And he said that they're clearing a road in the forest with military vehicles and parking these nearby. They're on missiles, you see, and military storage facility visible in the background during the interview. And he is, this is Vlad the Impaler Putin, said on Friday that Russia, which will retain control, he says, of they're calling them tactical nuclear weapons, but if they're 3 times the size of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, they're not tactical. They're not what we would call tactical nuclear weapons. And Lukashenko is, of course, threatening everyone around him and says that he can use them. And he's a crazy Eastern European SOB. In case, and I delete in case. We've all forgotten what it was like during the Cold War in the Soviet days and these crazy dictators in Eastern Europe who threatened the world. And Putin is one of them. Certainly, Lukashenko is another one. And this is, you know, with Ukraine going on in the background, Putin invading Ukraine. Putin wants to reconstitute the former Soviet Union, and he's a communist. He's a communist. I was talking to a liberal recently who's at CNN, a CNN person, and I called Putin a communist, and he bristled and said, well, Putin's not a communist. Really? When did that stop? That's pretty amazing. Because, you know, maybe if I said Obama's a communist, you could bristle, but Putin? Really? KGB colonel, Stasi, East German secret police, he's not a communist? People flying out of windows all over Moscow when they cross Putin, being shot to death in elevators, he's not a communist? So much more to get to. I'm going to have to come back tomorrow.